Hey y'all, welcome back to another new video. Today we are going to be talking about the Durmstrang Institute of Magic. I might be pronouncing that a little wrong and I'm sorry if I am. And it is one of the three main schools that we hear about in the Harry Potter series, along with Hogwarts and Beauxbaton Academy of Magic. And so I'm just going to go a little bit more in depth on it today, the history of it and some of their practices and stuff like that. Also, just a little preface, I'm sorry if there's some background noise going on today. I'm not the only person that lives in my house. So if you hear some background noise, that's just other people. So Durmstrang is located in the far north of Europe, and it accepts students from a lot of different regions, even as far as Bulgaria, we know. And it has existed since at least the year 1294, so for a very long time. And it is one of the three schools that competes in the Triwizard Tournament, obviously along with Hogwarts and Beauxbaton. The school is notorious for prominently featuring the dark arts as part of its curriculum, whereas like other schools just feature it a little bit. It is like one of the main aspects of what the students learn at school. And they do not admit Muggle-born students, which is probably one of the reasons that the Malfoys considered sending Draco there, but Narcissa didn't want Draco to be that far away. And this doesn't mean that all of the students share that prejudice. We know that Victor Crumb certainly didn't, as he went to the Yule Ball with Hermione, and also they continued to be friends after that year had ended, corresponding through letters. The school is also a castle, though not quite as large as Hogwarts, and it has very extensive grounds. It's surrounded by lakes and mountains. It is also unplottable, sort of hidden in plain sight, just like Hogwarts is. So it was founded sometime in the Middle Ages by a Bulgarian witch named Nerida Volchanova. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. And she also served as the school's first head mistress until she mysteriously died and replaced by Professor Harfing Muntev. And he was known for establishing Durmstrang's reputation for emphasizing the martial magics in the school's curriculum, so that kind of dark arts based curriculum. And the Triwizard Tournament was established in 1294 as a friendly competition between Durmstrang, Hogwarts, and Beauxbaton. In the late 1800s, Gellert Grindelwald was accepted into Durmstrang, and even though the school was known for teaching the students the dark arts, he experimented a little bit too much with it, and he did things that were a little bit too dangerous and put the other students at risk, and so he was actually expelled. And before he was expelled, he carved the Deathly Hallows symbol into the wall of the school. He had become obsessed with the Deathly Hallows by this point in his life. And even after his rise and fall as a dark wizard, that emblem was still etched into the school's wall. So he probably enchanted it with some very strong magic that they could not get it to go away. Despite being considered a very dark wizard, he is also considered to be the best student that ever attended the school, so he was obviously very talented and smart. At some point after 1981, Igor Karkaroff, who is an acquitted Death Eater, rose to the position of headmaster of the school, and he was ruthless, and he really led by fear and intimidation. And this made him very unpopular, so unpopular that some parents even pulled their students out of the school and didn't allow them to return. In 1994 and 1995, we see them in the Harry Potter series compete in the Triwizard Tournament, and they arrived in a huge ship, and this is where the students slept, and they sat with Slytherins during meals, probably because that was the house closest to their ideology. And 12 students came with Karkaroff to put their names in the Goblet of Fire, and the Bulgarian Quidditch seeker Victor Crumb was the champion that was selected. And he was Karkaroff's favorite because he was, famous and special. And he got a lot of bias just in how he was treated at school, but also in Karkaroff's judging of the Triwizard Tournament. It was very biased towards his own champion. Victor Crumb was a celebrity, and he kind of got followed around when he was at Hogwarts, people trying to be his friend, asking for his autograph, kind of similar to Harry himself, and he usually just ignored all of this. But despite this, he did become really good friends with Hermione, and while their relationship, in my eyes, is a little bit inappropriate because of the age gap, it did continue past the year of the tournament, and they corresponded with letters. And after Voldemort's return to power, Karkaroff actually fled, and I'm not really sure what happened to him or who took over after him. The school reputation is that it is notorious for its acceptance of the dark arts. Other schools kind of teach it a little bit softer and even try to hide some of it from the students, and that was not Durmstrang's approach. They actually had a pretty bad reputation because of this, and in an article for the Wizarding World website, JKR actually wrote that she thinks that their bad reputation was somewhat unmerited because, yes, maybe it was unconventional, but despite teaching the dark arts, they really only had 2 or 3 bad wizards versus a lot of students that turned out to be really good people, such as Victor Crumb. So she doesn't necessarily think their bad reputation was completely warranted. And they wear blood red robes with a fur cloak and fur hats for a uniform, And in the movie, it was depicted as more of a maroon color, but in the book, it was described as being blood red. And the etymology of the name, it seems to be something called a spoonerism for storm and drang, which is a Germanic expression meaning tempest and urge, if you translate it directly, but a more angelicized translation would be storm and stress. So basically, they're kind of just like a hard, tough school. And its location isn't completely known. So I found one interview where JKR said that it was located maybe in Scandinavia or the northern part of Sweden or Norway. However, on the map on the Wizarding World website, it looks to be a little bit more southern, so more like southern Finland or even Russia. And I think some of the accents kind of sound Russian. So somewhere in Northern Europe. And the coat of arms in the film, at least, is a double-headed eagle and has the name of the school in both Latin and Cyrillic. And the symbol is actually very similar to the symbol used for Imperial Russia, which is sort of interesting. And in the film, it is pictured as an all-boys school, very similar to what I said in my last video about Beauxbaton. I think this is kind of just supposed to be a contrast between the two, right? Like Beauxbaton is more feminine and pretty magic, despite who's doing it, a boy or a girl. And Durmstrang is more like harsh and tough. So I think they showed them as an all-boys school versus an all-girls school just to like show the contrast between the two schools, with Hogwarts sort of in the middle. However, in the books, we do hear of at least one girl that goes there, and so it's obviously likely that others do too. Also, the school was founded by a woman, and so why would a woman not allow women to go to the school that she founded? So it is most likely a co-ed school. And in the book, no hairstyle is described as part of the dress code, but in the movie, all of the students that are supposed to be from Durmstrang, even though, yeah, most of them are extras, but all of them have a very short buzz cut. Once again, I think this is just supposed to be representative of how like harsh and masculine the school is. And it is also sort of mirroring of a Muggle military academy. They all wear the exact same thing. They all have the exact same hairstyle. Whereas Hogwarts is more of like a boarding school. There's like a uniform, but there's like different variations of it. And you can kind of do your hair however you want. So it just sort of shows the difference in the approaches of the school. One is more relaxed, one is more strict. And that is actually all I have about this school. There's not quite as much information about it as some of the other schools, such as Overmorning or Hogwarts. But I hope you guys enjoyed anyways, and so if you did, please like this video and subscribe to my account. It will really help me out. And until next time, bye y'all!